Welcome, welcome, welcome to Sip and Chat with T. Lynn. How are you guys doing out there tonight? Listen, I'm super excited. I hope you're super excited because my next guest, has one phenomenal story that is inspiring people all over. And I want to make sure that his story gets shared with you so that it can inspire you too. But before we get started, you guys know what we need to do. Go ahead, make sure that you like, share, and comment on this broadcast. All right. I'm telling you, there's so much inspiration that's going to happen tonight. So many nuggets of wisdom that will come forth. But guess what? There are people that need it, and I don't know them, but guess who does? You do. So you need to go ahead and share this broadcast. And by the way, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so that you can be notified whenever we go live. Now that I've said that, and sip and chat is sip and chat. What is sip and chat? Oh my goodness, that's the beauty of live. Sip and chat is live and in full effect tonight. And I want to waste no more time. I'm going to go ahead and bring on my friend, Mr. Joseph Pollaro. Yay! Welcome, Joseph. Wait a minute. Why are you not trying to come? There you go.
All
Yay!
right, good. Thank
How
you
are
so
you?
much.
How are you?
Good, T-Lan.
Listen,
I'm excited to get into it with you. I got my
absolutely.
sip, keeping it
Yes. Drinking that good
clean
old water.
and
Staying,
clear.
yeah. I'm drinking my nice green tea. So to keep it nice and warm as we talk tonight. So without delaying any further, tell us a little bit about you. So my audience doesn't know you. I've heard some things, but tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Who are you?
Who am I? I get this. I get this question all the time. I think who I am is what I do, and nobody's watching. That's who I am.
Mm,
I am. First off, I just want to thank you for opening. Before we came on air here, you said a little prayer, and it just made everything feel so much lighter. And I'd like to just take a quick one deep breath, to set an intention that our conversation today, serves people, and that
yeah.
if one person watching here today, um, leaves here with an ounce of hope they didn't have before, that we've done our job. So I'm just going to take one deep breath.
Mhm.
Thank you. Who am I? I'm Joey Pollaro. I'm a coach. I'm a speaker. I'm a writer. I'm a teacher. I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict in recovery. And I am one of a human amongst humans, flawed in every way that humans are. Um, I'm assuming that we were going to talk about a little bit about my journey, of you know spending 2 decades addicted to alcohol and drugs, what that was like, and what it is that happened that um, brought me into sobriety on August 20th, 2009, and the transformations that ensued, which is the catalyst, of my and led me to the profession that I'm in, which is being a coach, helping other people, who are in recovery from addiction, no matter what that addiction is, to supplement their current recovery programs, taking them higher. Um,
Yeah.
I I don't know. I choose to recover out loud. And the reason being is any opportunities I might lose, and being vulnerable about my past, which is pretty ugly and pretty messy, and which I had hit a lot of bottoms along the way, and I had did a lot of damage to myself and others, and it's pretty typical for people who choose to live that way and get wrapped up in it and can't get out. But so I'll keep it really simple. I mean, we got a half an hour here. I mean, I can go on
I
and
was
on
going to
about.
say, I got some questions along the way, but
All right,
first
yeah,
of all,
you stop me.
before we go any further, I just want to say congratulations. Congratulations on your recovery. And I realized and noticed how you said that you are an alcoholic and drug addicts in recovery, like because it's a daily process and a daily journey for you. But I commend you on how many years is that now? 9, 10, 10 going
11
on 11?
plus,
Yeah,
11 plus,
yeah, 11
24s in a
plus.
row.
So, congratulations on your sobriety for this past decade. And then I just say thank you for even sharing your story out loud, because I think sometimes that's where we make the mistake is we are so closed sometimes with the things that we have gone through and overcame, and or still overcoming. We keep that closed off, and then there are others that could benefit from our stories, but because we keep our mouths shut and don't really share, there's someone else out there that's still struggling that needs our story. And so I thank you for continuously sharing your story to be an inspiration and give hope to others who are battling the same thing. So thank you for that. um I'll pause.
Okay, well, I'll pick up where you left off. Yeah, I wish I can take credit for all of it. I have been very consistent and committed, but a big part of why I'm here today, I believe, is that I was saved, and I believe that it was a power beyond myself that saved me, because most people who walk the path that I walked end up not making it, and the odds aren't good. And so, um, it certainly wasn't my intention to get clean and sober. What I had intended was to, and had accepted and was completely fine with, was I was going to die an alcoholic death or a drug induced death or some sort of really messy death. And I wanted off the planet. But it's, I started drinking and drugging really early, really young. And I can say only in hindsight, after many years of recovery and a lot of deep work and the ability to see the truth, that the second I picked up a drink, that it became my number one priority. And everything that I did, everything that I said, everybody I surrounded myself with, every moment was really about protecting my right to drink and drug in the future, because it was my solution. So it's like one of those paradoxical things where, the actual thing that's killing you is your solution, because I couldn't take life on life's terms. Not because I had a difficult life. I didn't have a difficult life. I was brought up by a really good family, and I had a lot of love, and I had a lot of friends, and I had a lot of um, important people in my life, and I had people to look up to, and people. I didn't really have any trauma or any abuse. All I could say is that um, there is certainly a something different about people who are actually have drinking problems or drug problems or addiction problems at all. Like, to me, it really doesn't necessarily matter is what your poison is. To me, it's
Yeah.
a soul sickness, and you fill
Yeah.
that hole with whatever it is your thing is. For me, it was alcohol and drugs. For others, it's sex. For others, it's work. For other,
Yeah.
it's people, or gambling, or spending, or
Yeah.
insert toxic
Whatever.
behavior here.
Yeah.
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 So that life was, as addictions go, no matter what they are, it progressed, and it got worse, and the
Yeah.
consequences built up. And most consequences, short of death or prison, I had made a mess of my life. I had pushed away everybody in my life who was important to me, and I didn't have the will to live. You know, I was scared to live. I was never scared to die.
Mm.
However, I guess to put it bluntly, I didn't have the balls to kill myself, so I was doing it slowly with alcohol and drugs.
Wow.
Fast forward, almost 2 decades, and like I said, leaving a trail of destruction in my wake, and having destroyed any opportunity for anything, and I wound up like, at a pretty significant bottom, which included, homelessness, an intravenous drug habit, that I that really, how I survived is beyond me, and without any intention, without any real like knowledge or acceptance that I was even an alcoholic and drug addict, which really says a lot about the addict's mind, is the inability to see the truth, or
Yeah.
really just insanity, being detached from reality. Like I had a pile of evidence pointing to the fact that I had a problem with alcohol and drugs, but because it was so important to me, um, and it was the only way that I could get through life, my brain wouldn't allow me to see it. I
Right.
didn't have any clarity. I had no ability to see the truth.
Yeah.
And I had gotten cleaned up before, and I had been introduced to recovery rooms and been in detoxes and rehabs, and I knew people, plenty of people who ended up dead in one form or another: murder, suicide, overdose, accident, drinking themselves to death. And I also knew many people who lived the way I did, who, um, you know, got sober, got into a program of recovery, changed their life 180 degrees, and were thriving. But I had no grasp of reality. However, I was defeated. I was out of options. I didn't have any ideas, and so I checked into a detox on August 20th, 2009. And my plan was just to buy time. I didn't know what I was going to do. I wasn't done
Yeah.
drinking and drugging, and I I had no resources in regards to any type of insurance, or like I said, I had pushed away any people who were important to me, and my family didn't have any money, so I just planned on going back on the street, and taking that week or so and just coming up with a new plan. And that's not what happened. I stepped out, and family and friends pulled together and gave me an opportunity to check into a rehabilitation center out in Utah, and against my will, or against what my mind was telling me, and every cell in my body was telling me to run
Yeah.
for the hills, I got on that plane. And that's kind of how my recovery went, for a year or two. Was that like I was acting in direct opposition to what my head was telling me to do, and I kept taking direction. I stayed in that rehab center. I stayed there. I stayed in the rehab center for 3 months. I got out for another few months, and got hit with really bad, I was depression and suicidal ideations, and
Right.
and then checked back into the rehabilitation center, with 4 months of sobriety for another 3 months, and back out into a halfway house. And you know it for me, it was a slow and painful recovery. I didn't get well right away.
Yeah.
I got a lot sicker before I got it any better, which sometimes is common when you remove you remove your medicine, you remove your coping
Right.
mechanisms. You're pretty much left. You know, I got sicker. I got
Yeah.
really depressed. Sleeping 20 hours a day, obsessing about suicide and using, despite any actions that I was taking, towards my recovery. And what I did stay away from a drink and a drug, and I think that that's a miracle. I think it's a testament to all the love and support I had, and the brothers and sisters in recovery, and in 12-step rooms, both out in Utah and here in New Jersey. But I turned to food at that point, and
Mm.
which is
Common.
maybe,
And I
yeah,
was about to
common.
say that definitely happens when you remove one, then sometimes there's something else that comes along to replace what you removed. So definitely not a
It's
surprise.
very common.
Yeah.
It's very common. That's one of the things I do with my business is I there a lot of times addictions get switched, and you start struggling with full functional health in other areas of your life.
Yeah.
And I didn't I went from 200 from when I got sober in 2009 to March 1st, 2015. I went from about 220, 230 to 415 pounds. And
Wow.
was sicker then, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, than I was when I was, you know, completely broken down, addicted, and homeless, and penniless, and worthless, and I had hit another bottom. Which, you know, um, when it comes to alcohol and drugs, a bottom is necessary. I was really defeated this time, and I woke up. I tell this. The reason why I have a very specific date, March 1st, 2015, when I decided to wake up and stop, just barely surviving and begin thriving, and start to truly live, and really respect myself and my body, and step out of my comfort zone and start living life instead of just like cruising along. Was I had a dream, and I like to tell this story because it was very impactful to me. And my grandfather visited me in a dream, and my deceased grandfather, and he was a man who never really raised his voice at all when he was alive, and he was screaming at me. He who isn't busy being born is busy dying. He who isn't busy being born is busy dying. And it
And
just
I
it
was like, ooh, I'm like, wait a minute. That is that's such a great, I gotta give that pause for just a second. He who isn't being born,
he who isn't busy being
who
born.
being busy being born is being busy dying.
Yes.
Interesting.
Which I had heard before because it happens to be a lyric in a song, a Bob Dylan song. It's all right, Ma, I'm only bleeding, but it never had impacted me before like it did. I just realized that, like I said earlier, that I was scared to truly live. I
Yeah.
wasn't scared to die, and I just woke up committed that day, and I started, very small. I had a huge mountain to climb. Thank God I had, stayed sober. I had stayed off of alcohol and drugs, and I had a very consistent program of recovery that I was
Yeah.
engaged in on a daily basis, and being of service to others in that arena. But I had a huge mountain to climb.
Yeah.
I had, I don't know, do the math, over 180 pounds I had put on,
Right.
and I had terrible habits. Every single habit that I had was a terrible habit, you know.
Yeah.
But I started really small.
Yeah. Now, one thing I want to do is I just want to reset just a little bit, because for those of you that are just joining us, we're talking with Joseph Pollaro, and he is sharing his journey to authenticity, um, as he recovered from drug and alcohol abuse. And one of the things, there are a couple of gems that you've already dropped, Joey, along the way, like to even confess and say out loud, I didn't really care about living. Like, I knew there was part of me that knew I had a problem, but I didn't care about that. And just so many gems that you've dropped just along your story of recovery. And I do apologize because there was one more thought that came to me, but you know how it is when you're constantly thinking, it floats away from you. But um I thought that that was a very honest statement, because sometimes we are, even when you said you were taken away to rehab, kicking and screaming, but basically like you wasn't trying to go because you were comfortable with the way you were living, because you didn't care you were dying. And that's true, because sometimes if we just be honest, when we're going through, and sometimes we get so settled into whatever that habit or that thing is, that we don't want to be kept. Like, we don't want to be pulled out of it. Like, we become comfortable with that thing that is dragging us down. It becomes a part of us and a part of our lives, and we become more afraid of what it's like to be without that thing, it can be destroying you and hurting you. But we would rather hold on to it because we're so comfortable with it and so afraid of living without it, even though we know that it's killing us in the process. And I think that was something crucial that you said along your journey, even being able to have that in that self-reflection to say it was killing me, but I couldn't let it go because I didn't want to know what life was to live without it. Like I was afraid of what life would be without it. Like that was key and something that I wanted to go back and grab for anybody that's just tuning in, like because that was such a crucial point that I think you made, because we don't. Sometimes we have to have the courage to let it go. And I'm thankful for whoever it was that took you screaming and kicking, into rehab, whatever it was that took you there. I'm glad, because if that were not the case, you would not be here today to help others recover and break that vicious cycle that holds you down.
Yeah, I all I could say is it whatever it was that got me there wasn't a human power.
Yeah,
It was a higher force, and
definitely.
it was propelling me and keeping me in forward motion and having me take actions that I didn't believe in, and just allowing me to hold on for one more day, for several years before I really began to see that, I had just a little glimmer of hope. And I began to see that, hey,
Yeah,
you know what? I can do this. People are doing it. I've done it for this amount of time. Um, I'm just going to chip away at it. And like I said, I didn't get well right away.
yeah.
And this is a message that, um, you don't necessarily hear in rooms of recovery,
Mm,
which is that, like, guess what, like, remove your addiction, or and do some inner work and change some behaviors and
yeah,
show up for yourself. You know what, you might not get well
yeah,
right away. They make it seem like, hey, you do these things and you take these actions and you remove alcohol and drugs and everything's going to be hunky dory. But guess what, man? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes
yep,
there's another plan. Sometimes
yep,
there's a bottom below the bottom. And just because you stop your addiction doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get well right away. Sometimes you
yes,
got to be really patient and just hang on for another day.
yes,
And I was able to do that. And I'm not because I'm any more disciplined than anybody else, or motivated than anybody else. I just really kept it focused. And a large amount of what I do, when I help my clients is, I try to implement daily routines, that are really small steps. So, like, I was able to stay sober one day at a time. In the
yeah,
beginning, it was a minute at a time or a second at a time. For 11 plus years, I've been able to release 170 pounds, and I'm 20 pounds away from my ideal weight,
that's
one
amazing.
little tiny step at a time.
At a
I
time,
took
one step
no
at a time.
large steps, none.
Yeah,
And that's how anything is really. That's how habits are built, that's how
yeah,
lives are built, that's how businesses are built, that's how relationships are built. It needs
yes,
to be chunked down into really small steps that you can take over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and they add up to a lot.
absolutely. Absolutely. And you already know my thing about that is when you talked about the higher power, you know I'm a God girl. I That's nothing but God. And you're right, it's step by step. You can't do it. Like no matter, and I tell people this all the time, you can look for a microwave result, but the odds of you repeating whatever it was, it's gonna come back. But when you work at it and you take your time to really, go, like you said, step by step, and you rework it every day, and you're constantly being intentional with what you're doing, and you're taking that time with that step, you get a lasting behavior change, you get a lasting lifestyle change. But your habits didn't start overnight. And so they're 9 times out of 10 not going to stop overnight. It's just not how it normally goes. I'm not saying there's not miracles out there. There are miracles. There are people that can put down something and say, I'm done with it, and they done. But that's not the case for everybody and most people. It is a step-by-step daily journey. It's something that you have to work at daily in order for it to continue to work and take effect. That is
Yeah,
huge.
that's smart. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, all habits are built the same, good and bad. You
Yeah.
know, it's just something that you do repetitively and consistently over and over and over again until it runs on automatic. So
Yes.
like obviously when we're talking about either replacing a bad habit or creating a new healthier habit, the anatomy of the habit is really basically the same. Like you need to know what direction that you're going to step in,
Yeah.
and I think a big part of that is you need to be able to identify with that habit and even have a little bit of to you know be able to have a little bit of belief and faith that it's even possible, and then you really just chunk it down to the really smallest step, and just it can you just start being consistent,
Yeah.
tiny steps, impossible to fail steps taken in the right direction, compounded over time, add up to a lot. So
Yeah.
it's whether it's a bad habit or a good habit, it's exactly the same. Once you plug into momentum, it's really hard to go back, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's habit building is something that has saved me time in and time out. I have habits, good, healthy habits, life habits, mental and emotional hygiene habits, physical habits, spiritual habits that,
Yes.
that run on automatic. That means like I do them like I'm brushing my teeth. And so no matter whether I feel like it or not, they get done.
They get
Um,
done.
and they have a big impact on my life. So teaching, solid good habits is something that one of the things that I specialize in doing, and I think it's really important to be able to, to have something instilled so you can sustain it over time. Like anybody can like I did throughout my drinking and drugging career. I stopped completely for over a year multiple times without any intention of I just was stopping till the smoke cleared, until people started to look the other way, or there was a sufficient amount of
Mm.
time that had gone by, and then I went back to doing what I was doing. But like, you know, just because I was able to stop, it doesn't mean that, A, I was committed to stop,
It
or
just
B,
means
that I was
it just means
able to
you stop.
sustain it over
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, because you
I
just
never did.
put it down for a second. Right. Exactly. Now I have one question for you because this is a very, 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 very important question, especially for here on Sip and Chat. And that is, with all that you've gone through, how would you say it has or in what way has it led you to your authentic path that you're at now? Like what out of all that you've been through, how did it help you find your authentic self? Like what was the authenticity about you that came and resulted out of this adversity?
How do you be your authentic self? What I can say is that what has opened up for me was, and I don't think this has anything to do with me. I think this was by design, the universal design possibly is I have been able to take all my mistakes, all my failures, all my challenges, all my adversity, all my obstacles, all my shortcomings, once overcome, and be able to take those lessons and blessings and meanings and any types of skills that I acquired, you know, throughout my personal transformation, is really all my failures, all my worst failures and mistakes become my greatest strengths to be of service to
Mhm.
others, to help somebody else,
Okay.
walk the path that I'm walking on. And that's not a decision that I made. Like, that was the plan all along.
Right.
I just wasn't aware of the plan. you know, like
Right.
I think that's how higher forces work. There's
Yeah.
everything that happens to us is for the higher good. Now, that's the truth.
That is the truth.
It's staying aligned with that truth all the time, even when it's super painful or hurtful, or it doesn't seem fair. That's the challenge. That's
Yes,
where
it is.
there needs to be awareness and a constant mindset shift back into that truth. Like,
Yes.
I know that's the truth.
Yeah.
It's my job to extract the lesson, blessing, and meaning. And I know that whatever that is, it's so I can be of maximum service to others, even if that's helping me.
Yeah.
I got it all starts with self. Like, I
Yes,
have
it
to be
does.
good. Like, I have to be healthy. I have to be strong. I have to be fit. I have to be, I have to be completely good in order for me to help somebody else. It's kind of like everything starts with self. If I want
Yes.
love, I have to have self-love. If I want
Yes.
respect, I have to have self-respect.
Yes.
Add whatever, insert whatever there. It all begins with self. So even if my adversarial conditions force me to truly work on myself, in the end, that's because if I'm good, I'm able to, it's kind of like the airplane
And
oxygen
I
mask
would
thing.
just get ready to say that.
You know what I mean?
Put your own oxygen mask on
Right.
first, and then you'll be able to
Right.
help others.
Yeah.
Because the moment you put on someone else's before your own, you might as well say you're dead in the water. That's that.
Yeah. So as far as
Yeah.
authenticity goes, I mean, I just try to, I mean, just being as honest as I can about, my past and my present struggles. And I think that's the best way I can be authentic. I mean, nobody's completely authentic. I mean, I think we're all wearing masks at some point or another and put it on a
At
different
some point,
mask
we
at a
all
different
do.
time. So
We
yeah, I
do.
mean, I'd like to say that I'm 100% authentic, but I think that's bullshit.
Fair enough.
I'm doing the best I can, man. I try to let people see me for who I am, let people in to see what's inside. That's not how I went through life before. I went
Yeah.
through life keeping everybody at arm's length, and I didn't want anybody to see who I was inside. So I just try to do that as much as I can. And it's scary. Every time I open up and let people see the true me,
Yeah.
there's a huge growth that comes with that, because that's one of the hardest things in the world to do, is to be
Yeah.
vulnerable, to be honest, and to be authentic.
And you're
And so I
right.
could
And that
only
is,
say that
and
I try as much as I can to do
yeah.
that.
And to your point, like literally, it does take every day. You're every day you have to intentionally work to be authentic, because it's so easy to do that, to put on a mask, to be something that we think other people want us to be. Like it's a constant work to be true to you and to own who you are authentically. You know what I mean? But I think that you're doing a great job just by what you've shared, and continuously to share your story, like you being vulnerable quite often, more than it's probably comfortable for you to do so. Um is you being authentic. That anytime you open up to share that, you're being authentic. You're sharing your authentic self with the hope that it will inspire, encourage, and give someone else hope, right? And you do that every day. And to that, you have done this amazing thing where you now give out golden nuggets of wisdom. And I could not let you leave here without sharing the fact that you go and continuously inspire others with nuggets of wisdom. So, talk a little bit about the golden nugget, because, of course, I have one of you that I'm going to share before we go off the air tonight. But share with us a little bit about the golden nugget.
Yeah, one golden nugget is a social platform that was created by a man named Stephen Foster, and it's strictly about sharing life experiences, sharing knowledge, sharing wisdom in small nuggets, tiny little nuggets. How he came into my life is beyond me, but in on LinkedIn, and I've met such amazing people. I had so many amazing opportunities there, but little nuggets of wisdom acquired through experiences, acquired through um, life, acquired through education, acquired through, businesses, failures,
Yeah. Hmm.
anything. And it's what's so beautiful about it is it it's all about uniting people. And there's you really can't comment, you can advertise anything. They're just little bites of wisdom that get put on into one space and organized for anybody to go there and to get inspired. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's something that I was asked to be a part of, and I was super enthusiastic about it. I think the world needs more of it, and so I joined up, and I put my time and my energy and my money behind this beautiful creation because I think the world needs it. And so that's the one golden nugget, and you got to share. Your nugget was
Yes, I
awesome.
did.
Like, everybody loved it. It's a
Thank
good one,
you.
and I really really appreciate you taking the time to do that. And like, you have a voice the world needs to hear, and anyone that gets to see your nugget is gonna gain from it. So you get to help more people,
Thank
spread
you
your
so
message a
much.
little further.
Yeah. Thank you. I enjoyed doing it. And I even told you I had a couple of bloopers, but I got through it. But I
Yeah,
certainly
if you could see
appreciate
my outtakes for my little minute videos, oh
you get
man.
1 minute to give this golden nugget of wisdom. And
Get
you
20
gotta be
tries
ready.
later. Yeah.
Yeah. But I definitely want to share one of your golden nuggets that I loved that you shared with me. We're gonna air that as soon as we're finished. But before we go, because time is winding down, but before we go, what is one thing, one nugget of wisdom that you would like to leave with our viewers tonight?
Ah, stay in process, not product. And what that really means is like, stay in action and out of results and consequences, which really boils down to staying in the present moment. You know, um, you just got to take the action, and we do need to remain open to, and malleable to shift gears when it's not working. But in
Yep.
general, if we have a system in place and we have a process in place, if you keep chipping away at it, you're going to see some results. Even if those results are negative, those are the best lessons. So stay in process, not product.
Stay
That's
in
my
process.
golden nugget for today.
I love your golden nugget. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Joey, I certainly thank you so much for joining me tonight on Sip and Chat. I really hope that everyone that watches it, whether you're watching now, whether you watch later, I really hope that you got some nugget of wisdom that will inspire, encourage, and give you hope to keep pressing forward. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story once again. I certainly appreciate it. But without further ado, because I think this nugget is fantastic, I'm going to go ahead and play one of Joey's golden nuggets. And I think it's so appropriate for Sip and Chat. I
Yeah, I
do.
didn't know you were going to do this. This is kind of cool.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and pull that up.
I got a golden nugget for you. Recently, I was being interviewed and I was asked a really important question. And as often is the case, the questions are the answers. What the question was is, if you can go back in time and give your most important life lesson to your teenage self, what would it be? I thought about it for a second, and what came to me was, your head is going to lie to you. It's going to tell you that it's impossible. It's going to tell you it's not worth the effort. It's going to tell you that you're not enough. It's going to tell you that there's not enough time, there's not enough energy, there's not enough love, there's not enough money, that there's not enough help, that there's not enough people to serve, and it's a lie. Don't believe it. Know this. This is the truth. You are filled with untapped, infinite potential, and the universe wants to help. There's a very specific recipe to plug into those universal forces and into the potential that's lying dormant within. That recipe is desire belief, faith, commitment, consistent and persistent action. With that you follow that recipe, and almost nothing is impossible. That's my golden nugget for today.
I love that golden nugget.
That's sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it goes right along with what you gave as your live golden nugget tonight. So, Joey, it has been fantastic talking with you. You are a coach, and I definitely want to make sure that people that want to get in contact with you, and or maybe they have an event they want you to come be a part of, how can people reach out to you? Please share.
LinkedIn, Joseph Pollaro. Facebook, Efficacy Life Coaching. That's EFF. Oh, you have it up there. EFFICACY Life Coaching, and www.efficacylifecoaching.com. That's a good place to start. You'll be able to find me there. This went too quick.
I know. Time always flies when we're having fun. That's just the way it is.
It was fun. I just like to wrap it up with like to let people know that no matter where you are or where you've been, you can go from just barely surviving to thriving, and from constricted limits to freedom. I'm proof of it. I'm not any different than anybody else. I'm just a human. And if you need help with that, I can help you.
Awesome. There it is.
There we go. Mic drop.
Pollaro. Yes, he's dropping some golden nuggets on us tonight. Go ahead and connect with him, guys. Reach out, especially if you connected with his story and there are ways that you feel he will be able to help you. Please feel free to reach out to him. Joey, I'm always grateful for you. I look forward to hosting you again very soon. Remember, guys.
I'm ready for that.
Yeah, remember, guys, to like, love, comment, and share. Okay, share this broadcast. I'm telling you, there's someone in your network that needs what was said here tonight. Be sure to share it with them. Also, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Hit that little bell so you'll know when we go live again next week, and the week after, and the week after, and the week after. Right? All right. Remember, today is a great day to make a difference in the lives of those around you. I am Lynn Tate, and this has been Sip and Chat with Lynn. You all have a great week. Bye now.